Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring Kira in our top right corner playing the red Protoss, and Weiman playing our blue Terran in the bottom left, where on Daybreak Weiman is in Diamond and Kira is in Masters. Playing on the ladder, I'm betting Weiman is preparing to move up a rank, and Kira, I think he's High Masters actually, so I don't think he's in any danger of moving down. I think this is Weiman just being really good rather than Kira being really bad. So, Daybreak, it's been a while since I've played on this map, but it's been around for a very, very long time. Kind of a classic. You've got a medium-sized ramp leading down to the natural, which is kind of exposed because of this huge choke. But the real choke sits up here by the destructible debris. I've actually seen Protoss players particularly wall off here and wall off here. And just, have two different wall offs, one incorporating the destructible debris. Which is fine and good until you take your third. The third is super exposed with that pathway, kind of a long by ground pathway up to the natural from the third, and then you have a kind of a back door leading into the common ground, which is really wide open, no terrain to take advantage of by Protoss or Terran to deny surrounds from the Zerg or from ground-based play. So yeah, the third kind of is sucky on this map. It kind of favors 2-base play or 3-base if you can control the map to the point where you're comfortable with kind of taking that risk. So Weiman grabbing his first barracks, not really taking a risk with his build order. He doesn't have any early gas. It looks like he's saving up a little bit of money, over 200 right now, but I think that's just because he's prepping to complete his wall off in a short order. Kira has that first gas and gateway down, throwing the other pylon. Thank you, brain. Pylon. He's also scattered out. If you check out the minimap, you can see it's kind of light here because he's checked here. He's checked behind his mineral line. He's checked all the way down into the third. Just making sure there's no proxy racks harassment coming out of Weiman. I've seen a really effective build where they get a single barracks with a tech lab proxied. But it's not so much cheese as it is a buying time arrangement. You just harass with the Marauders, which are so effective early in the game, and just deny the expansion from Protoss, and it makes them uncomfortable. It makes it so they can't really do what they want to do early on. Cybernetics Core coming out for Kira. That first Stalker is going to be denying the scouting from the SCV. Zealot's not the most effective thing in the world to deal with scouting from the SCV side of things, just not super fast, but this guy's actually on a patrol pattern. I wonder if Kira continues to micro well. I mean, he's got 2 hits off already, and it doesn't look like Wyman's paying close enough attention to deny the kill from the Zealot. Not much of a loss. Weiman got a really good scout off there, saw only 1 gas, didn't see a ridiculous number of gateways, or no number of gateways, which is even more terrifying if you ask me, especially since Weiman is going for an early expansion. Getting that first 1 rack fast expand with the bunker just to protect it. It looks like Kira is moving out with his Stalker and Zealot just to poke around, see what's going on. I don't think has he successfully scouted the expansion? No, he has not. He knows where, of course, Weiman started, but he doesn't know about the fast expand just yet. This bunker is going to cue him in on that being the fact, but he might has to be very careful here. Actually, he doesn't want to get that Stalker overexerting. He's pushing in just in time to see the command center. The Zealot does go down, but the scouting's probably worth that price, and he keeps the Stalker alive, which is probably more important, as it's a much more useful unit to deny scouting. Another SCV come out. He'll see that the Nexus for Kira has also gone down, as well as 2 additional gateways. Actually, I don't think he's going to see that. I think he's going to go down from this Stalker right here, patrolling. 1, 2, and some good micro out of Kira. Goodbye, SCV. Another gas for Kira also, but that's to be expected as this expansion gets up and running. What will be more interesting is to see the next tech structure that goes down by Kira. Twilight Council, Robo, Stargate, all the opportunities are endless. These SCVs appear to be following around the mule rather than mining themselves. Maybe taking pointers, maybe because, it appears that the rally for the command center was placed on that. So these guys are going to be idle until Weiman notices. And he does pretty quickly. It's because he's really good. Another gas for Weiman. He's got 2 additional barracks for his own and a tech lab working on STEM. So this appears to be the build that Weiman's going, kind of a ground-based play. again, it'll be important to pay attention to the next couple of structures that come out of him. But Kira going for the super ballsy third down in the bottom right corner. Remember, I told you that this map is very wide open, and maps like that really tend to favor the Terran because they can really harass in multiple areas and locations, and Protoss has to stick together in order to be the most effective with their army. Forge coming up for Kira, and also a couple of sentries. Sentries will be very key, not only because you have to get them out early so that they can begin to stockpile gas, another 2 being built right now, but as they stockpile that energy, they are very vulnerable. They've got very small amount of health, 40 for 40, die very quickly, and they represent a lot of gas, but their force fields can split Marines in half, and since this appears to be all that Weiman is building right now, just a buttload of Marines, it's going to be very key for Kira to correctly force field his enemies into place and hold them there so the Zealots can go to work on them, and also to deny the Marines their ability to stutter step away. Stargate being built right behind the factory. The reactor going on in the factory is not for Hellions, I suspect, but it's more for the multitude of medevacs that will be coming out of the Stargate once the starport takes advantage of that reactor. Medevacs being incredibly important whenever you do this ground-based play, which is totally what he's doing. He's got the stem, he's got the +1 for the weapons coming up. Wyman's throwing down some additional barracks. I expect we're going to see some additional add-ons for these barracks in short order. And he's getting up all that gas. Look at that, 4 gas geysers. Oh my goodness. Right now, both armies are kind of coming together. A lot of Marines on the field, kind of an unorthodox build for Kira. He's got a lot of Zealots just now starting on the charge and finishing up the +1 armor. But what he's going to do with the sentries is either cut the Marines in half if the engagement does not favor him, and so that the Zealots can deal with the small manageable chunk of Terran army, or he's going to kind of cup behind the enemies to prevent them from running away and stutter stepping away and denying the Zealots the opportunity to do damage. But he'd only do that if he could handle the entire bulk of the army. Really don't want to throw away your Zealots and then risk losing your sentries. Best case scenario, you just want to cut it in half, take out the half you can take, and then retreat with the sentries before any of them go down because they represent such a large investment. Factory, another big investment, but it's going to be invested in scouting. Going to see what that third is up to. You can see Wyman's vision shows you that he does not know about that third. He might suspect it because there hasn't been much aggression out of Kira at all. But he doesn't know quite yet. And it looks like he's moving out his force, consisting primarily of Marines, just suspecting that that third is up, they'll be in a good position to deal with him. Charge finishing for Kira. He's also started on the +2 for armor. Combat shields finishing for Weiman, but he's a little whiles away from the Marauder Slow and level 1 armor for Weiman. He does have that +1 up already for the weapons. Massive engagement. Here's that scoop I was talking about with the sentries scooping underneath the army, preventing them from kind of kiting away the Zealots. Still, a lot of the Zealots going down, only 5 of them left. I don't think Kira is going to successfully clean up this army completely. Once the force fields fall, all the Marines stutter stepping away like I was talking about. But Kira succeeds in keeping alive his sentries, almost losing one right there, but a clutch warp-in of Zealots rebuilding that meat wall, and another nice scoop underneath the units for Weiman, forcing Weiman to pick them up and lift them off in the medevac. I think Kira's got to be very careful. He's only got 2 Zealots left on the field, and those sentries are very, very exposed. If Weiman turned around and engaged this, eventually these sentries are going to run out of energy to force field, and they'll be very exposed. A lot of Zealots coming down. Oh, but the majority of them split off to the north, leaving the sentries kind of exposed behind. No force fields to help, and that just shows you the other side of this engagement. These Zealots doing absolutely nothing, getting cut down completely, and now the sentries come in, but with no Zealots in front of them, they're going to get cut down completely. Look at that. Nice stem from Weiman, cleans up 500 gas just like that, and Kira does not have any sentries on the field anymore, just 9 Zealots. At the same time, he's grabbed a 4th down in the bottom right corner. If Weiman continued with his aggression, he wouldn't have an issue with dealing a death blow to that 4th expansion, but it looks like he's intimidated by the warp-in of Zealots in his back door. Look at that. I totally missed that. His forced to retreat to take care of the Zealots before they can cut down all of the SCVs. Looking at the resources lost, rather the units killed, 11 workers already down. A couple of that's from the early scouting, but the majority of that is from those Zealots. So very successful delaying tactic from Kira. Those 9 Zealots were warped in at the probe, or pylon in the top north corner. Tech switch from Kira, getting out some High Templars rather than the sentries. He's grabbing so many of these expansions strictly because he needs a lot of gas, blowing most of the money on Zealots, but he's still floating over 1k for those Zealots. Storm's going to be incredible as long as he can hold them in place to kind of just decimate them. But as long as the stemmed Marines and Marauders maintain their speed, they can just run away from the Storm. Multiple sentries will really help out the Templars from getting the most out of their storms. Another warp in on the north side, just 4 Zealots, as Weiman continues to push back the speed. The charge lots are actually outrunning the High Templar, leaving them a bit exposed. A successful harassment with these Zealots, forcing the reinforcements from Weiman to come back. Huge engagement right here. Another getting the surround almost instantly. Excellent storm. Weiman having to deal with the Zealots in the top left corner, kind of wasn't paying attention at just the right time, and unfortunately Weiman splits up some Marauders on the north side. They get cut off. He's discovered the 4th. He knows it's there now. He knows where his next engagement is going to be, but he doesn't have the ground forces necessary to break up Kira's army composition. A lot of Zealots. Look at all those Zealots. Upgrades are 0-2 against 1-1. I'm not sure which one favors, but with the level 3 armor for Kira, heavy favor in just a couple of seconds. Another warp in from the Zealots. This is a pretty cheap form of harassment. Finally, Weiman's getting his army in position to actually cut down those pylons to deny that harassment, but the probe is still alive, and Kira now has a ridiculous number of Zealots in the main base. Zealots aren't supported by any units, though. The single High Templar is actually well behind the enemy force. A lot of Zealots charging in, doing quite a lot of damage, but they're going to get cut down very, very quickly, not being able to get a good surround on this ramp. Single Archon dealing a lot of splash damage, but you can just see that the huge, overwhelming force that is Weiman's really just destroyed Kira's. 3 robotics facilities on the way as Kira gets pushed back to his 4th base. Weiman really needs to deny that 4th base. He needs to get in there and stop all that mining. But it looks like Kira is switching tech to these robotics facilities. I'll be interested to see how many... it's got to be a Colossi. The Robo Bay going up right on top of them. Colossi will be very, very effective with the Zealots in the front, kind of holding all these guys in a ball. And the AoE damage from the Colossi will be very intimidating. 3-3 beginning for Weiman. I guess he got 2-2 at just the right moment for that last engagement, pushing into the 4th. He's going to have no problems cleaning this up, splitting off a small group to the north just to see what type of reinforcements, at the same time buying time for the majority of his force to target down that nexus. Excellent storm, several storms from Kira, and then they immediately morph into an Archon, but the Zealots are going to get cleaned up completely. There's quite a lot of medevacs on the field right now and no feedback to take them out and no anti-air to deal any damage to them. Another round of Zealots, but the 4th gets cleaned up almost entirely. Paying close attention to the minimap this time for drops. I don't see any, but that's been Kira's main reaction whenever any aggression comes out of Weiman. He's just dropped a couple of Zealots in the top left corner and then harassed that 3rd. Again, which is so exposed. 3 Colossi on the way right now, but Weiman has plenty of time to get his force into that 3rd, which is not really well defended at all. He's got a nice wall off there, but that wall off is actually going to work against Kira for this engagement because he needs to get surrounds on this ball of units in order to do the most damage. I think Kira's going to have to wait for this wall off to fall before he engages or come around on the left side. But it looks like he's getting his units in position anyway. Not a lot of units here. Definitely not enough to stop this force. Ghosts in the front. I think I saw an EMP. Colossi just now finishing, but Kira's entire force has been decimated. So those Colossi come out, but there's no ground supporting units. to hold Wyman's men away from just coming up and focusing them down. Nothing in the front of these Colossi. It looks like he was planning on using the probe, but Weiman reacts just too quickly. 1, 2, and 3 go down almost instantly. That is a devastating loss for Kira. Oh, and he leaves the game, which is probably a good plan because, I mean, Weiman had a 4th coming up. He's got another round of Marines just sprinting Hellbelt into the 3rd, which is going to go down in like 10 seconds. And then there was nothing to stop Weiman from heading north, take out the Robo Bay, and that was going to be it. I'm interested to see what was going to come out of those Stargates eventually. Well, that's it for me, guys. If you have a comment, you could leave me a comment, tell me how I'm doing. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I'll see you guys later. I am Big and Scary.